Taking to the streets over Trump, why hundreds marched in Albuquerque to protest the GOP presidential candidate frontrunner.
Plus, public shaming or just punishment? Why the former Secretary of State says her plea deal is putting her life in danger. What the AG's office is getting ready for this morning.
Also, burning in the Bosque, what fire officials say could be to blame following a string of fires, and an update on the most recent fire investigation. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to KRQE News 13 this morning. I'm Adam Atchison.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Krista Gutierrez. Happy Monday to you. It's February 22nd. We'll get to those stories in just a bit, but first we're taking a look at the weather.
Yes, and a big change on the way. Kristen Curry is watching the switch from warmer to a little cooler, right?
Yes, cooler, more wind and rain and snow on the way. So a totally different ball game today compared to what you had over the weekend. I want to begin with the Doppler radar. We do have a little bit of cloud cover here and there, not much, and most of those weak showers that we had developed over the eastern plains overnight have since fizzled. So not much to talk about this morning. That's when we shift our focus to this afternoon. We will see increasing clouds and wind here in the metro. Temperatures down a good 5 to 10 degrees, only leaves us in the low 60s across Albuquerque, but notice the winter storm warnings that we have up for parts of the northeastern plains and east slopes of the Sangre de Cristo Mountains. This is where we expect upwards of half a foot of snow to fall within the next 48 hours. We also have a winter weather advisory in effect in purple. Not only the rain and the snow, but also the high fire danger, a red flag warning in effect for the southwest, and a fire watch in effect for south central New Mexico. So it'll first be about the low humidities and the wind, then we switch over to the rain and the snow. So a lot happening in that forecast. Will break down everything you need to know, including the high fire danger and those wind speeds coming up.
Thanks so much, Kristen. We start with news happening today. Crews will be keeping a watchful eye on the Bosque. This after another round of brush fires over the weekend.
And News 13's Sarah Yingling is near Tingley Beach right now, has the very latest on the most recent fire. Sarah?
That's right, Adam. Things are much calmer right now, but just a few hours ago, Albuquerque Fire Department was here monitoring for hot spots. Now, fortunately, AFD was able to contain the fire that was 1/8 of an acre in size shortly after responding around 7 last night. While on scene, crews did see smoke coming from other spots as well. Those were also contained. This comes after a series of Bosque fires this year. Deputy Fire Chief Vic Padilla said it's frustrating that fire season has started early, and with winds kicking up this week, it could prove to be problematic.
Due to our dry weather that we've had this last week, things are starting to warm up, and with the winds that we've been having in the evening, it could have been a very large incident very rapidly.
Now, Padilla says all 3 incidents are suspicious. He believes it was human cause. Whether they were accidental or intentional, that's yet to be determined through investigation. Back to you.
All right, Sarah, thank you. AFD is asking that if you are out enjoying the Albuquerque Bosque to obey restrictions in the area. If you see anything suspicious, you're asked to report it right away.
On to this developing story this morning. The Attorney General is preparing for a court fight with disgraced former Secretary of State Diana Duran. This morning, she's claiming part of her punishment is a form of public shaming. Duran was convicted of blowing thousands in campaign money at casinos as part of a plea deal. She agreed to serve 30 days in jail, followed by probation and 2,000 hours of community service that did include 4 public appearances a month for 3 years. Now her lawyers have filed a motion in court asking a judge to reconsider that. She says asking her to discuss her fall from grace is putting her life in danger.
It would be really nice to have a little bit of privacy now that I'm a private citizen.
Duran claims she's getting threats on social media after media coverage. She says the public appearances are hard to make because she does live in Tularosa. She also says she's raising 3 grandchildren who have an absent father and a troubled mother. No word on when a judge could make a decision.
5:04 now. This morning, police are still searching for the driver of a car who they say drove away after hitting a pedestrian. They say around 7:30 on Saturday night, that pedestrian started to cross San Pedro just south of Lomas when he was hit. The victim was taken to UNM Hospital, where he was last listed in critical condition. According to authorities, the driver who took off was in a beige or gold-colored Nissan sedan. If you have any information, you're asked to call police.
Also this morning, Albuquerque police are investigating a deadly pedestrian crash on the interstate. It happened just before midnight on Saturday night between Wyoming and Eubank. APD says at some point the pedestrian entered the far right lane of traffic and was hit by 2 cars. The victim died on scene. The drivers are not expected to be charged. We'll follow up on this for you.
A suspected car thief is back behind bars once again this morning after police say they caught him with guns and drugs. Majestic Howard was shot in the head as he tried to steal a car last year. This is his latest mugshot. Police say they arrested him Thursday again in a stolen Hummer SUV with heroin, meth, and firearms. The 27-year-old has an extensive criminal history, and the evidence has been stacked up against him, but his luck has not run out. Despite permanent head injuries, he keeps making bail. This morning, he's held without bond in one of his cases.
And the woman accused of stealing from storage units is facing charges this morning. You may remember a couple that lives on Kirtland Air Force Base had their ATVs, tools, and yard equipment all stolen from Extra Space Storage off Eubank and Central last month. A total of about $10,000 in valuables stolen. Police say 43-year-old Sandra Condon committed that crime and 4 others at the same place. This morning, her bond is set at $2,500 cash or surety.
Starting today, you won't be able to board the rail runner at the Los Lunas Transportation Center. That center is now closed for months. Construction on the north side of the Transportation Center will impact parking and access to New Mexico Rail Runner Express platforms and the Rio Metro bus stop location. The construction will include improvements to the grounds surrounding the center. It's expected to be completed in 4 to 5 months, and we posted everything you need to know on the KRQE News app.
This morning, the presidential candidates are turning their sights to the next contest in the South and West this week. But New Mexicans are calling out a popular GOP candidate.
When I say Trump, you say Trump! 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 Trump!
Hundreds gathered at Civic Plaza yesterday protesting hatred toward minority groups such as Hispanics, Muslims, and Native Americans. Part of the protest stems from comments made by Donald Trump that were directed towards Muslims and Mexicans. Representatives from different communities spoke about ways to combat discrimination.
I think we'd like to send a message, a loud and clear message to politicians to say, don't be using scapegoating people, and we won't stand for it. We want a united front.
The protest was organized by more than 40 groups.
Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump, meantime, is starting the week with 50 more delegates from his South Carolina victory over the weekend. This morning, he's focusing on a battle against rivals Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio in the Nevada Republican caucuses tomorrow. Democrat Bernie Sanders, meantime, hoping to defeat Hillary Clinton in this Saturday's South Carolina primary after suffering a narrow loss to her in Nevada.
News happening right now. Bill Cosby's wife, Camille, is scheduled to give her deposition in a defamation lawsuit against him. The comedian's attorney still tried fighting to stop it, but at this point, the deposition is happening in Massachusetts. 8 women have sued Bill Cosby for defamation. They claim he portrayed them as liars after they publicly accused him of sexually assaulting them. They're among 50 women who have leveled sexual misconduct allegations against Cosby. He maintains his innocence this morning and denies any wrongdoing.
A Miami woman is struggling to recover this morning after family members say her roommate beat her into a coma. 23-year-old Danielle Jones is finally able to open her eyes after an attack on Valentine's Day. Her family says she was brutally beaten and nearly stabbed by 35-year-old Byron Mitchell. They say that Jones found Mitchell on Craigslist a week before, and now he's charged with attempted murder. Doctors believe that Jones may have some serious brain damage, and Jones's mother is hoping this is going to encourage people to be careful and check references or do criminal background checks before welcoming somebody in, a stranger in off Craigslist.
Especially off Craigslist.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people use it, but I'm a little worried about that.
Bad things can happen, so you got to be careful.
We've seen it before.
All right.